My name is Jellycat, and at the beginning of January, I decided that I was going to watch one movie every month and make a video essay on it. And it is February 4th, and I forgot to record the video essay for the first movie I watched, being the original Spongebob movie. So I'm recording it now. So I'm going to go over the story. I wrote down a bunch of notes on the story, just like key things that might be worth mentioning. I'm going to talk about some other stuff, like after I talk about the story, I'll rank it out of 10. Um, the like art, animation, whatever, all that stuff. Yeah, we'll figure it out as we go. So we're gonna start with the actual story and what I think about it. And it's peak, I'll be honest. So it begins with pirates. They find a treasure chest with tickets to the SpongeBob movie within this treasure chest. And then they sing the intro. It's a pretty good remix, actually. The actual movie starts with the pirates. Krusty Krab is just surrounded. Every fish in Bikini Bottom is there. Nobody's allowed in. And it's all because of one customer, Bill. Bill got a Krabby Patty without cheese. And he wanted cheese. That's a big deal, apparently. So SpongeBob shows up, and he is very serious. Like, yeah. He's a very serious guy. He goes in, he's like, got a whole kit to add cheese to this cheeseburger. Phil has a wife and two beautiful children, according to himself. And SpongeBob adds cheese to Phil's Krabby Patty. And then the issue is fixed. And then he wakes up. That was all a dream. But today is the grand opening of the Krusty Krab 2. SpongeBob believes he's going to be the manager. SpongeBob has been... Okay, so in my notes, I wrote, SpongeBob has been employee 374 times in a row. It's supposed to say employee of the month 374 times in a row. He has been employee. So we get a little sequence of him getting ready for the day. It's nothing major. And then we go to Squidward in the shower. La-da-dee, la-da-doo, la-da-dum. And SpongeBob's just there. This is breaking and entering, but, you know, it's SpongeBob.
Hi, I'm SpongeBob. Hi, I'm SpongeBob.
Talks to Squidward about the whole manager ceremony thing, and then just leaves. Actually, I think he was kicked out. So Patrick just hypes SpongeBob up as much as possible. You're gonna get this. And after the ceremony, they intend to go to Goofy Goobers, and then they sing the Goofy Goobers theme song, which I'm not going to sing. And then SpongeBob goes to work. It's as simple as that. Then we get that one meme. You know, what inspired you to build a second Krusty Krab right next to the original? Capitalism. And then we cut to Plankton, who is just spying over the Krusty Krab, and he wants that formula. That's all he ever thinks about. He has been through every single plan to steal the formula, from A to Y. Yep. Go ahead, take time. Take time if you're thinking about it. Here, I'll give you a hint. There's another letter in the alphabet. Yeah, I guess Plankton, you know, the genius, this evil genius that he is, just didn't know about the letter Z. And then finds out about the letter Z. And Plan Z, specifically. Maybe he knew the letter Z existed, just not Plan Z. I don't know. But it's a pretty good plan, I guess. I mean, it's evil, it's diabolical, and lemon-scented. I mean, what more could you want from an evil plan, really? We cut to the ceremony. SpongeBob was like, I got this. And doesn't get it. Except he doesn't realize that.
Yeah!
Squidward is the manager, and this is because, according to Mr. Krabs, SpongeBob is just a kid. Along with some other things, according to the crowd. But I don't remember what all they said, and I didn't write it in my notes.
Dork? No, wait.
A goofball?
Closer. A ding-a-ling. Wingnut.
A knucklehead McSparzatron!
Okay, that's enough.
SpongeBob just walks off into the sunset, crying like a baby. Like, get over it. Patrick flies in with his cheeks out. SpongeBob is now at Goofy Goobers in the Nut Bar, and he is just not having it. He is bawling his eyes out. And then Patrick's there. SpongeBob is like, you know what? What was I even sad about, you know? And Patrick's like, so, what's up, manager? And SpongeBob cries more. And then right before SpongeBob leaves, Patrick gets this really big ice cream sundae thing. It looks pretty good. And SpongeBob's like, you know what? I could stay for one of those. And then I think they have like 300. I don't think they paid for it. Like, I think they're just like, yo, let me get some of these. It's like, yo, waiter, let us both get one. Yo, waiter, give us 2 more. The ice cream has alcohol in it, or it has a similar effect to alcohol, because they're just like, we cut to them in the morning, and they are just drunk as can be. Allegedly, they're drunk. And then SpongeBob wakes up the next morning. He is, like, completely hungover. And then we get the sound. So that's pretty cool. I forgot to mention that after we see Patrick fly with his cheeks out, we cut to Plankton breaking into the castle of King Neptune, the ruler of the sea, obviously. And he steals the crown.
I got it!
So that's fun. And then so the next morning, King Neptune, with a bag over his head because he is bald. He is really bald.
My hair is thinning a bit.
Oh, Your Highness, I'm sure it's not that noticeable. Bald!
With a bag over his head, he goes to the Krusty Krab and executes a pole. I'm not kidding. So Neptune is looking for crabs because apparently crabs stole the crown and left a note that says, I stole your crown. Signed, Eugene Krabs. Which, I mean, that's pretty convincing. You gotta admit, like, that I would be convinced that Mr. Krabs stole it too. So SpongeBob walks in. He's drunk. Calls Krabs a jerk. Neptune's like, you know what? I'm gonna kill this guy. He stole my crown. This little sponge here does not like him. I'm gonna kill him. And SpongeBob's like, not drunk anymore because of that. So SpongeBob offers to go get the crown, which is in Shell City, which is just forbidden, I guess, because everyone's like, no, don't go. So it's forbidden to like the entire ocean, I would assume. And the reason Neptune really wants this crown is because of he's bald. Neptune's just gonna kill both of them, SpongeBob and Mr. Krabs. But he is stopped by his daughter, Mindy. And so SpongeBob has 10 days. But then Patrick says he could do it in 9. Or I don't know what Patrick actually says. Patrick lowers this number.
Exactly 10 days. He can do it in 9, 8, 7, 6. Patrick! 6 it is then. 5.
To the point of SpongeBob having 6 days. Because of Patrick. If Patrick weren't in the Krusty Krab, which I'm not sure how he got here, he was still completely passed out when we last saw him at Goofy Goobers. So I don't know when he got here. And so Neptune freezes Krabs, and he's just ice. Yeah. And he's gonna be stuck like that till SpongeBob gets back, or until SpongeBob doesn't get back and Neptune kills him. And so Mindy gives SpongeBob and Patrick a bag of wind. Oh yeah, Patrick's going with SpongeBob because he ruined the trip. I wouldn't want to take him with me in that case, but, you know, it is what it is. If it were me, I would have left Patrick, but it's whatever. So Mindy gives them a bag of wind to help them get back once they finally get to Shell City and get the crown. And then we are introduced to the Paddy Wagon. Probably the coolest car in all of cartoons. And SpongeBob, who doesn't have a license, doesn't need one, because it's a sandwich. And why would you need a license to drive a sandwich? Makes sense. So the duo leaves for Shell City. And then Plankton gets the formula. He just takes the formula, says, yo, to the frozen Eugene Krabs, and then he leaves. And we get that one other kind of funny thing from this movie, What'll it be, fellas? Ketchup or mustard?
Fill her up, please.
What'll it be, fellas? Mustard or ketchup?
Those two guys tell SpongeBob and Patrick, you won't make it 10 seconds past the county line. And so they drive past, right? And the paddy wagon is stolen immediately. They lose it the moment they cross the county line. But they still survive more than 10 seconds. So good job on them. So now Plankton's selling Krabby Patties, along with bucket helmets. And, I mean, yeah, it's just buckets. Or is it just buckets? So Plankton realizes that SpongeBob and Patrick are out to go get the crown. But he already planned for this. And he sent out a vicious, cold-blooded predator named Dennis. Dennis is a nice guy. Or is he? So SpongeBob and Patrick are still walking because they don't have the paddy wagon anymore, and they are struggling. Like, I don't think these two have ever left Bikini Bottom up until this point. But then they find the paddy wagon at the Thug Tug, which is just like a boat. It's like a tugboat, I think is the official term, and that's why it's called the Thug Tug. That has crashed into the ground and is now used as a tough guy place. Bunch of tough guys. There's a guy eating a bowl of nails. So they get in the paddy wagon and then realize the key is missing. And that's not good. They can't drive it without the key, which is really just a spatula. So they sneak into the Thug Tug. SpongeBob tries to get the key from the guy who stole the paddy wagon from them, and Patrick tries to cause a distraction. Patrick fails to cause a distraction, and SpongeBob fails to get the key. So they both go into the bathroom, because I think Patrick actually had to use the bathroom, and that's why he failed to cause a distraction. Then they find out that the bathroom has a soap dispenser. And within the soap dispenser and the soap dispenser can make bubbles. So they have themselves a little bubble party without thinking. And then a bubble flies out. And so the tough guys, they all line up, including SpongeBob and Patrick. They're all lined up there. And they're, the leader tough guy's like, we're gonna catch the babies. I think he had like a British Australian accent. There are babies here. That's why there are bubbles, right? Only babies like bubbles. I like bubbles. Am I a baby? Probably not. So they play the Goofy Goober theme song. And SpongeBob and Patrick are like struggling. They know that if they start singing, they're dead. But luckily, before they could start singing, there were two conjoined twin fish that both started singing together. And they just get jumped. I don't think those guys are alive anymore. I'll be real. I think they're dead. Regardless, our duo gets the key and drive off. Now, Squidward is living his best life. SpongeBob and Patrick are gone. What more could he ask for? But then sees literally everyone in town wearing one of these bucket hats. And that's concerning. Because that means people are going to the chum bucket. Why are people going to the chum bucket? So, Squidward goes over and finds out that Plankton is selling Krabby Patties. Then Plankton activates these buckets, which apparently were mind control devices. And so the entire town is now, being mind controlled by Plankton. I guess there's no more Bikini Bottom. There's no point in going back, I'll be real. I think SpongeBob and Patrick just go somewhere else. But they keep going. And so, they arrive in a bone valley, and it's exactly that. It is a valley of bones. But then there's this nice little shack. It's like a 1x1 in Minecraft, right? And there's this nice old lady in there selling ice cream. So, Patrick stays in the paddy wagon. SpongeBob goes up to go get 2 ice creams. And, Patrick looks around and realizes that he wants chocolate ice cream. Not that they're in a bone valley, but that he wants chocolate ice cream. And then, as SpongeBob tries to grab the ice cream from the nice old lady, he can't. And his hands are stuck to it. And it's like gooey. And so is she. And then the monster is revealed. I don't know what this monster is. He kind of looks like an anglerfish, but not really. But this is like his trap. This is his bait to get little creatures to come feed him. So he chases SpongeBob and Patrick towards the trench. And what's in the trench? More monsters. They jump out of the paddy wagon, and the monster chases it off the cliff, and we can assume that that monster is now dead, because that was a long fall. Tease the steps a little, or Patrick teases the steps a little. Kind of like steps on it, takes his foot off, does it again. Every time he steps on it, a monster screeches. And then SpongeBob's just completely defeated. He starts walking back slowly, and I mean very, very slowly. And then Mindy appears, and she's like, "You got this," and gives them fake mustaches after they cry for like 5 hours. Just some like seaweed. But they think it's real mustaches. And their confidence is through the roof because of this. And they don't take the stairs I mentioned earlier. They don't take the stairs. They dive right in. Because they're men, apparently. Mustache make you men. Apparently. Without fear, they dive into the trench. And I think they land on like a branch or something. And that's why they don't die. And so they think that they're... And so they sing this nice little song. Now that we're men, we can't do anything. Forgot to mention this. Patrick has been wearing Goofy Goober underwear for 3 years. And at some point during the song, he changed into normal underwear. Which, I don't know when he did that. It's also disgusting that he's been wearing the same underwear for 3 years. Does he have multiple pairs, or is it just one? But anyways, they sing about, now that we're men, we can do anything, blah, blah, blah. And the monsters down in the trench start singing with them. Like, it's really funny. Cause a monster is about to eat them, but then they start, like knee slapping and whatnot. I don't know what they were actually doing. Like, that's what it was. They were just, like, slapping, like, their knees and elbows and whatnot. And it was kind of peak. At some point, I forgot to mention this, but about the time we found out that the fish, or the grandma, was actually just a trap for that big monster fish to eat people, Dennis arrived at the Thug Tug and manages to sink the entire thing into the sand. So that's fun. Our boys arrive at the other end of the trench, right? And they're like, we got past all those disgusting, creepy, horrible monsters. And all the monsters that were singing with them are just like, oh man, They walk back down into the trench. And they our heroes take one more step, and now that we're men, and then Dennis is there. And he reveals that he was hired to exterminate the men. And SpongeBob and Patrick are like, nah. They laugh it off. They don't think anything of it. They just completely laugh it off. And SpongeBob was like, listen here, Buster. We're gonna let you off with a warning, okay? See his mustaches? And Dennis rips off the mustaches. He's like, this is not mustaches. And then he grows a pretty nice looking mustache in the span of like 2 seconds. And I think it's gone in the next scene. I don't remember exactly. But yeah, he grows it instantly after ripping off their mustaches. I'm gonna kill y'all. Because Plankton told me to do so. Because he stole the crown. I probably shouldn't have said that. Dennis Plankton specifically requested that Dennis stepped on them. This is because he is usually stepped on because he is a very tiny fella. So small, he only need one popcorn. So yeah, that's cool. He lasts for, like, way too long. And then a giant boot. And this is the Cyclops, who kinda, I guess he runs Shell City. It's just a guy in a scuba gear, I think. He chases them for a couple seconds and then takes them to Shell City. And they wake up in a fishbowl. They don't know how to react, because it's like a real life fishbowl. They are officially two little cartoon fellas in real life now. They don't know how to react to the artificial sand, the glass, and yeah. And so they're there. SpongeBob's like, huh, yo fish fellas out there, help us, because there's a bunch of fish outside of their bowl. And then they realize that those fish are dead. Those guys are gone. This is a side note I wrote down. Why is the Cyclops, who's just a guy in a diver suit, I assume, why is he wearing the suit inside? Unless he is, like, I'm under the assumption he's just a normal guy under there in the movie. But then why is he wearing it inside? And then we see him go to the bathroom in a minute. And he goes in with the suit still on and comes out with the suit still on. So it's like, is he actually a normal guy? Anyways, SpongeBob and Patrick watching horror as the Cyclops makes a humorous diorama of a clam called Alexander Clam Bell. It's whatever. And then, so the Cyclops takes our boys, they're not men anymore, he takes the boys, to a very bright light. Like, it is insanely bright. And they begin to dry out. So SpongeBob, as he dries out, starts to think, everyone was right, I'm just a kid. How could I have made it to Shell City? And then they realize that they're in Shell City, and Shell City is just a gift shop. And the crown is, just over there, like in the corner, being sold for a mere $7. And so they cry one last tear together. The tear forms a heart. And then they sing the Goofy Goober theme song as they slowly dry out. And then we go back to those pirates from the beginning of the movie in the theater, and they're bawling their eyes out. They're just like, and then the parrot is like, the parrot's like, yo, that tear, and that previously mentioned heart-shaped tear rolls down, down the power cord, and causes a little electrical smoke to happen, which sets off the fire alarm. And you know how a fire alarm works, I hope. And so rain comes down, and our boys are no longer dried out, along with every single fish in the gift shop. And then the Cyclops steps out, and then just gets jumped by every single fish in the gift shop. And then so our heroes take the crown, and they go back onto the beach. Which, didn't you guys just die not having water? And now you're stepping out onto a beach, which we could assume is on a hot summer day. I don't know. SpongeBob reads the instructions for how to use the Bag of Wind, how to ride the Bag of Wind all the way back to Bikini Bottom. And as he's reading, Patrick follows the instructions because SpongeBob's reading out loud. And they lose the Bag of Wind. Again, because Patrick is stupid. I'm starting to notice a pattern. We get that one really funny meme.
Oh no.
How will we ever get to Bikini Bottom now?
I can take you there.
Take you there. David Hasselhoff offers a ride to Bikini Bottom, and he plans to swim all the way there. We don't know exactly where Bikini Bottom is, but we can assume it's pretty far out. And my exact notes say, David Hasselhoff offers the boys a ride to Bikini Bottom, swimming all the way there, which is probably, a lot of swimming. But we see that he starts moving like a boat. Like, there's a point where he's not swimming anymore. He's a boat. And so we find out that it is March 14th, which is Pi Day. That's cool. But it's also been 6 days since the fellas have left. And so, you know, King Neptune comes back to the Krusty Krab. Yeah, right here. I wrote after the March 14th thing. Hasselhoff isn't swimming. He is gliding on the water like a boat. Anyways, Dennis comes back, riding the boot of the Cyclops. So Neptune is about to kill Krabs, but Mindy's like, what if you give him a little more time? Neptune's like, no. But what if you give him a little more time? You're stalling. Stalling? What's stalling? And just straight rage baits him for, like, who knows how long. However long it takes David Hasselhoff to get to Bikini Bottom. We see, like, Dennis chase SpongeBob and Patrick along David Hasselhoff. And on a side tangent, he has really hairy legs in the movie. It's not important at all. But anyways, SpongeBob makes like a really epic jump from one of David Hasselhoff's legs to the other. And in that time, Dennis, I guess, just like walked around to catch him. He's like, SpongeBob's like, how about some bubbles? And the bubbles blow right into his eyes. And so, Hasselhoff goes under a boat for some reason. Because I don't think he knew Dennis was back there. He just decides to go under this boat. But it's like, I don't know, it's complicated. It's like, got like 2 parts here and then like, so kind of like that. And Dennis gets hit off. He's not coming back this time. Eventually, Neptune falls for the rage bait. And he sends Mindy out and puts this giant lock on the door to the Krusty Krab. And he points his trident at Mr. Krabs. And he's like, blah, 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 blah. And eventually does this countdown. Just as Hasselhoff gets to the island from the intro of the SpongeBob show. And he stands up, which, based on how it looks, he's far from the island, so he shouldn't be able to without sinking down. But he fully stands up, like full body stands up. And then he takes the crown with SpongeBob and Patrick on it. And his pecs go like, doot, doot, like, it's so weird. Like, they go out, right, open up for him to put the crown and our heroes in. And it plays a mechanical sound, too. So he puts them in, and his pecs close back up, or like squeeze them together with another mechanical sound, and then he squeezes the crown as a launch sequence begins. Like, beginning launch sequence in 5, 4, 3, 2, yeah, that kind of launch sequence. It's really funny. As this is happening, Neptune counts down from 10, getting ready to shoot Mr. Krabs. And then the crown launches at, like, Mach 10, down into Bikini Bottom. And it crashes into the Krusty Krab just as Neptune shoots his little laser from his trident. And so the laser bounces up and potentially murders David Hasselhoff. I'm not completely sure, but it hits him nonetheless. And so Plankton's like, "Oh, are you kidding me, gang?" And drops a really big crown onto King Neptune, putting him under, or not a big crown, he drops a really big bucket onto King Neptune and puts him under mind control as well. And so he's about to violently murder Mindy, SpongeBob, and Patrick with the entire town of Bikini Bottom under mind control. Like, every single civilian is about to, like, murder these 3 people. It's a little excessive. And then SpongeBob's like, before you murder me, can I give a little speech? Can I talk for a minute? He gives a little speech about what he has been through in the past 6 days, 5 minutes, 27 and a half seconds. You know, you are who you are, blah, blah, blah. And nothing can change what he is inside, and that's a kid. And he did everything that everyone said he couldn't do. You know, he calls himself a kid, a goofball, a wingnut, a knucklehead, McSpazaton, But most of all, he's a goofy goober. And we get that really cool Goofy Goober Rock song as he frees the entire town because at some point, towards the end of the song, he becomes a wizard with a Goofy Goober guitar. Goofy becomes a wizard with a Goofy Goober guitar. And, you know, boom, boom, he shoots the entire town with this guitar. And it breaks their buckets and frees everyone one by one from the mind control. Yep, he breaks all the house, and Neptune gets his crown back, and he unfreezes Mr. Krabs. SpongeBob is like, you know, I don't know how to say what I really want to say, and Squidward's like, I think I know what you're trying to say, and he asks about how he's been on this journey, and at the end of the journey, he doesn't want what he actually wanted, which was to be manager, and blah, 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 blah. Squidward's just yapping. It's not important what he says. Because SpongeBob says, I was just going to tell you, your fly was down. And he snatches... Actually, before I continue, he's like, I was just going to tell you, your fly is down. Squidward isn't wearing pants. How exactly is his fly down? They don't even, like, talk about that. They just say it and go on. But anyway, SpongeBob snatches the manager's badge. He's like, manager, this is the greatest day of my life. And we get the best ending to a movie I have ever seen, I'll be honest. Because of Ocean Man, of course. Ocean Man's such a peak song, bro. At the end of the credits, we go back to that theater, and the manager, who I think is played by the same actor from What's Her Name of Spider-Man, Ursula from Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man. That's her actor is the manager of the movie theater. But anyway, she kicks the pirates out. She's just like, just get out. And yeah, I mean, overall, it's got one of the best stories I've ever seen in a movie. And I don't watch a whole lot of movies, so yeah. Overall, I'd say story-wise, this is a perfect 10 out of 10 for me. Me personally, I think it's a 10 out of 10. I mean, maybe you disagree. I don't watch a whole lot of movies, so, you know, this is like what I'd say I've seen maybe 100 movies in my lifetime, like in full. I don't watch a whole lot of movies. So the next thing that I want to rank is animation. So now I'm going to rank the animation. So the movie was in 2004. And in the movie, it's the first instance of SpongeBob being more of a square, which doesn't make a whole lot of sense. But if you were to look at like the pilot or season 1, 2, and 3, he isn't like a perfect square. He's got like a little like, he's more like a trapezoid, but like you would barely be able to tell. But he is closer to a like if you looked at him face on, he's closer to a trapezoid. Whereas starting with the movie and since then, he's been much more square, which I guess it's kind of in the name, Squarepants. That's his pants, not him. I like how I like when he's like kind of like curved like that, or not curved, when he's more trapezoid like in these. I've got a little image up of every single season. Like if you look at the pilot and through season 3, like he's got like, it's kind of hard to visualize like this, but like he kind of goes out like a trapezoid, like I've been saying. Like he goes out when he's going up, and then with the movie, he's a lot more square. And then from then, he's just been square like that. So I think if he were more of like that kind of trapezoid look throughout the movie, and this is just from a single frame, it's been a couple weeks since I've watched the movie, but if he were more, so he could be more trapezoid throughout the movie, but I don't remember completely. But overall, I think I'm going to put it at like a 9 out of 10. It's still really good. Like, it's kind of got almost the same energy as the season 3 animation and art style and whatnot. Just because I feel like it's starting to move more towards like the modern art style and animation of SpongeBob. Next up, I'm going to be ranking the characters and all of the character arcs and whatnot. But the characters. Overall, I'd say every like key character had a pretty good like arc overall. SpongeBob realized that it's okay to be a kid. Most of the town realized it's okay for him to be a kid. King Neptune, he realized, I should be a good person, like my daughter. And, Patrick's just there. But I feel like they could do more, like, villain-wise, it's Plankton. That's kind of like, we get that a lot. SpongeBob doesn't really have villains. And Plankton is the villain of this. I guess in, like, back then, I don't think they needed villains for it to be cool. Like, for SpongeBob to be alright, having a villain was like, they didn't need to overuse it. I feel like anytime I've seen SpongeBob recently, and it could just be they just happen to play episodes like this, but they always have Plankton up to something. But then again, the last time I like watched SpongeBob and this happened was maybe 3 years ago. But yeah, the villain being Plankton, I think nowadays you could have expected that. Like, it just seems like, oh yeah, if they're gonna make Plankton the villain, he's like the villain of SpongeBob, usually. It'd be weird to not make him the villain here of like the movie that was supposed to be the like final thing of SpongeBob. And then Dennis is cool. They like kind of introduce like a new villain, but he's really only there because of Plankton. He's more like a henchman more than anything. Overall, I think they did pretty good with the characters, all the little character arcs. There's a little more they could have done, probably, like the whole moral of the story, and everyone realizing the moral of the story is it's okay, be who you are, even if that means being a goofball, a wingnut, and a knucklehead McSpazatron. So overall, I'm gonna put characters and character arcs and all of that at a 9 as well. And so next up, I want to talk about the music. I love the music. The music is the best thing about this movie. It's not the best thing about this movie, but it's 10 out of 10 right off the bat. All of the little side songs that we get, the little Goofy Goober, why can I never say that right? Goofy Goober theme song, it's not that important. Goofy Goober Rock, that's really good. Now That We're Men, that's really good. All of the little songs throughout the movie are really good, and they fit into, like, the movie really well. Ocean Man, the best song in this movie. Hands down, the best song. I will fight someone over that. Ocean Man's the best song in this movie. So overall, music gets another 10 out of 10. And finally, I want to talk about impact. So now I want to talk about the impact of the SpongeBob movie. Overall, the impact of this movie was pretty good. I'd say on me specifically, it had a nice impact. Like, when I was but a wee lad, this movie, it made me really happy at the time. And rewatching it a couple weeks ago, it made me really happy again to rewatch it. I felt like joy watching this movie. I laughed several times at the jokes. Some of the jokes in there are now iconic memes. And there are some really iconic scenes in this movie too, like "This is the greatest day of my life" before it plays Ocean Man. And if I were to put all of the SpongeBob movies on a scale, this one gets S. This one gets S, or if I were to rank them all, not put them all on a scale, this is number one, without a doubt. I haven't watched the last two, the most recent one and the other most recent one, when they kind of first started doing this 3D animation stuff that they do in like that one spin-off, whatever it was called, and the most recent movie. I haven't watched the last two SpongeBob movies, is what I'm getting at here. And if I were to watch like all four SpongeBob movies right here, right now, the first one, SpongeBob Squarepants Movie, is my number one. And I'd say Sponge Out of Water is my number two, but we're not getting into that. That's not what this is about. So, yeah. Overall, the cultural impact was pretty good. I think most people of, like, we'll say my generation, for example, Gen Z, have seen this movie. And I'd say no one has had, like, a bad experience with the SpongeBob movie. Probably. Hopefully. Watching the SpongeBob movie, you are going to be happy at the end of the movie. Because it's really nice. It has a nice message overall, you know. You can take something away from this movie, that it's okay to be you. Overall, I'd say the impact is probably another, we'll say 9.5 on this one. Because I don't want to put it at 9, but I also don't want to put it at 10. I'm a little biased towards this movie, because I watched it like 5 times in a row. Like, for a week straight, I watched this movie, like, every day. So I am a little biased towards it, so I'm trying to not be biased towards it, but that's kind of hard to do. So, the overall ranking of this movie is a 9.5 on my list. That's pretty good, I'd say. I think this was an amazing movie. Would I watch it again? Yes, I would watch it a lot more. I probably will watch it a lot more. This is a good movie. I haven't seen it, like, aside from when I watched it 2 weeks ago. That was the first time I had seen it in 3 years. And it's a good movie. I will be watching again. I suggest you watch it. If you haven't watched it, why'd you watch this entire video before watching it? Okay, that's my first question. But go watch it for yourself. You know, form your own opinion on it. If you have watched it, but it's maybe been a while since you've watched it, watch it again. It's really good. You'll enjoy it if you watch it again. If you enjoyed watching it the first time, you'll enjoy watching it again. That's what I think from it. But yeah. Overall, this movie is a 9.5 out of 10, and I'll see you next month with another movie essay review thing. And hopefully next week with another video. Bye!